All right, so I'm eating the spectacular pasta of Emily Waters. We're gonna test it out. So, moment of truth. So, we're gonna test it out.
Can you tell me when it's starting?
Yep, it's starting now. All right,
Okay.
so
So I've turned it on. I just gotta wait a little bit until it's hot enough, and then we'll put the olive oil in. You can tell it's hot enough because you can fling some water on it, and it'll like sizzle up.
okay.
And see if it's hot enough. And I'm gonna fill this up with water so we can start the spaghetti boiling. Like 2 cloves of garlic. And if you take the knife and smush it,
Yeah.
it makes it easier to peel all the stuff off. So you push it down, it all just kind of comes off. Instead of having to like really work to get it to come off. Because most of the time you have to like use your nail and it's really hard.
So what's the most interesting cooking experience that you've had as far as like we were just listening to Miss Ferguson tell us about somebody measuring a cup of flour or whatever. She said like, what have you done? And you're like, whoa, wow, how did that happen?
Well, one time I was cooking pasta like this and I forgot about letting the water boil. So I just put the pasta straight into the water. So it all like stuck together. It was pretty terrible. And I had to blow on it like every minute just to keep it from like boiling over. I'm sure there's more stuff.
Yeah, so what's the kind of secret to not having the water boil over? You said blow on it? What's that all about?
My mom taught me that. Just if it's like foaming up to here, if you like blow on it just like really light, it'll just kind of go back down. I'm not really sure why. Just
That's how it is.
down. But if you blow too hard, it doesn't work. It's kind of strange. You don't need it to be perfect. And then you'll just put the garlic in. Stir it.
Is there anything you're looking for with
once
you put it in there?
You want to be able to smell it, which you pretty much already can. So, you're gonna put a little bit of tomato paste in, and I'm also gonna turn it down just a little bit, but not too much. I'll fix that in a minute.
So why the paste?
Honestly, I'm not really sure. That's just kind of what I learned kind of how to do this at the beginning of the sauce from the Blue Apron recipes that we make.
Okay.
And they always have the tomato paste and the garlic in the pan. And then they do this, and it looks kind of funny, but then it turns out good, so.
So the Blue Apron, who should probably cut you a check for saying Blue Apron right now.
So I'm putting in a couple tomatoes now. And then once this goes in, I'm also going to turn it down a little bit. And it'll all kind of cook down. Like the tomato paste that looked really funny earlier kind of like blends in with this. And it makes it really good. And you're also going to put in salt and pepper.
Smell the garlic.
Yes. Definitely. So water's boiling over there. So you put the pasta in.
So is there any secret to putting the pasta in? I've heard different things that people do. What's your...
A lot of people break it. Sometimes I do, but I just kind of put it in. Because if it sits for a second, you kind of just smush it all in because the end softens down.
Right.
So I don't know if you're like supposed to break it, but I usually just do that. So I'm also gonna put in a little bit of Italian seasoning into it. It has like oregano, basil, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I actually don't teach you, and the only way that I knew you was because of what people told me about you. And I gotta say, you're just like the nicest kid ever.
Thank you.
But you know, how did you like? What is your claim to fame? Like, how did you end up being known as Emily Waters, the chef?
Okay. So I started cooking. I don't really know. I just always liked it. I just always have been doing some cooking. Like when I was like 4, I would like play in my like play kitchen. So I've always really liked it, and I don't think there was like a specific thing that made me like it. I just kind of always have. Some of my family cooks, but it's never been like a big huge part of my life. So then, I mean, people just know I like to cook. So one of my mom's friends worked at a 4-H camp the summer before 6th grade.
Yeah.
And she found out about this audition for Chop Junior, so like for kids. So she just told us about it. I mean, I never thought I'd make it past the first part, but I mean, it would be like worth a try just because that's so fun. So you had to send in like pictures of your cooking. So I sent in pictures, and then I made it to the next step, which was like, kind of just kept going. Like, you had like a lot of interviews. And there was this one interview, it was like a Skype interview with the lady from the Food Network. And my dad was in the room with me because I wanted somebody to be in the room with me.
Of course.
Because it was scary.
Right.
And he was trying to tell me to like be a little more enthusiastic, so he kind of went like this, just because I was really nervous. I was like this, so I went like this. Just because I was trying to understand what he was saying, so I went like this, and the lady was like, huh? I was like, oh, I don't know, I don't know. It was terrible, but I mean, we were in the living room when I found I was gonna be on Chop Junior. So I did that, and then we went to New York.
Hold on. So how did you find out? Like, what did they do or say?
They called us, I think.
And then just
to tell us.
Like, did they like build up to it, or they were just like, hey, you're...
I'm pretty sure they just told. It was all very like, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah. So what did you do? What was the first, like, what was your very first thought, your very first reaction when you found out that you actually made it?
I don't really remember, honestly. I remember my aunt and uncle were at my grandparents' house in Virginia Beach, so we called them. But we weren't really allowed to tell many people about it until it aired. So we filmed it in August, and I couldn't tell people until December. So people would be like, what'd you do this summer? I was like, nothing. And our family and some of my really close friends, but that was it.
So like you get to New York.
Yes.
And you're on set? Like, how does that work?
So in New York, they provided us with a hotel, and then the first day we just like took a tour of like the pantry, so we knew where everything was. So that's pretty important. And then we filmed the next day.
So did all of the kids like show up at once, or did you guys?
Yeah, they took us in a limo the first day, but the second day they took us in a van. That wasn't as fun as the limo.
So you got to like meet and hang out with all of the kids that were going to be on the show?
Yeah, I'm still friends with one of the girls. The girl that won, her name is Claire. I'm still friends with her.
Where's she from?
Virginia, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it was really funny.
Wow.
Out of everybody in the whole country, 3 out of 4 of us were from Virginia.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And then the other one was from Manhattan. It took me a minute though. So the first one, we had clams, hot dogs, like with the bun and the hot dog part, shrimp chips, Japanese mayonnaise. Is there 4 or 5?
I don't know. So just regardless, when you see that, like, what is the first thought? Like, how are you going to piece this together?
Yeah,
like,
I don't remember my first. I think probably one of my first thoughts was that I'd never done anything with clams before. So I was like, well, how am I supposed to do that? I don't even know what those are. And I'd never heard of shrimp chips or Japanese mayonnaise.
Yeah, me either.
So,
I'm not going to lie.
I tried the Japanese mayonnaise. It was actually better than regular mayonnaise. It's just like normal mayonnaise, but it's kind of tangy.
Okay.
Like extra tangy.
So what did you end up making from that first dish?
Fried clams with like a flour and shrimp chip breading.
Mm-hmm.
And I cooked the hot dogs like in a pan, like really small, so they were like hot dog croutons.
Ooh.
And then I made a little salad with the Japanese mayonnaise and vinegar as dressing.
And what did the judges think of that?
They liked that one. I didn't put enough. I think the bad thing was I didn't put enough clams on the plate because I was having a really hard time getting them open, so I didn't have time to like.
So how long do you let the noodles or let the spaghetti go in the water? Like, what do you?
I just keep it in there until they're cooked. Doesn't feel quite cooked yet because they're still kind of stuck together and hard in this one spot.
So you're wanting it to be.
See right there, they're like
I see
hard
that spot.
and stuck together.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So we always, like, if you look on the box, I think that spaghetti says something like 7 to 9 minutes or something. Is that?
Yeah, it says like for al dente.
Yeah.
Which is like, I think it's like hard to the bite or chewy to the bite.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a little bit hard. And at my house again, he's kind of just cook it so it's like a little softer than that. He's like, you're supposed to make it hard. I like it softer.
No, I'm with you. That makes total sense.
So yeah, but I'll probably take that off in a minute. And then I'm going to put the tomatoes in there and let them kind of cook off a little bit and get cooked. And then I'm going to put them in there.
So you're going to put the tomatoes, the diced tomatoes in
there once the pasta's out of there.
Okay.
And then I'm going to put it in there and then mix it up. And then...
Which do you prefer? Because they're two totally different types of education, but both don't necessarily exist places.
Yeah. I mean, I personally feel like I learn okay in like traditional, but I think it's more enjoyable to learn in other ways than just taking notes.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I can absorb the information even if it's not like with a project, but sometimes I feel like it's easier to like sit through school when you're doing something fun.
Taste test? You don't throw it up on the wall or anything?
Nope, just turn it off. Oh, I didn't put that in the sink. Oh.
So you are actually doing something right now that you enjoy doing, and quite frankly something that could potentially be a living for you, a career for you, and kind of, we always talk about it in education, like having these real world skills, and you definitely have one here, but do you think that the way, basically like you said, taking notes and things like that do you think that's preparing you for life after 12th grade?
I mean, probably not, because when you go to work in a job, you're not going to sit down and take notes on how to do stuff, I think when it comes to your future, it means a lot more to do stuff like the makeup does.
What do you think you get from being creative and getting able to being able to try new things and, you know, do different projects and stuff. Like, what do you think you get from that you don't get from? Because those are all things that you're kind of discovering on your own, as opposed to just being delivered the information. It's like, what do you think so much more beneficial?
Probably the actual like touching stuff and putting like the pieces together in your head. Like when you actually have to like put the puzzle pieces together in your head, kind of.
Yeah.
And figure out how to do something, you're going to remember it a lot more.
Okay, we won't show that. Actually, yeah, we will. There it is. See, even Chop Jr. makes a mistake. So how did that happen? And like, what can you?
I don't think I put enough water in the pan.
Okay. So that's like a really, like, this is kind of like a big deal. Like, you have this burnt spaghetti on this pan, and like, if this were like a real cooking show, like Rachel Ray or whoever, like, they would not show that. But that kind of thing happens all the time. But when I said something to you about it, you just kind of like laughed, and like, it didn't really faze you. Like, what?
I mean, you know, I just didn't put enough water in the pan, or the pot. So there's just spaghetti stuck there. The tomatoes will just pick it up. I don't think it'll make it taste any different, because I took the burnt ones out of the thing. So I don't think it's going to happen.
But you know, some kids your age, and actually a lot of kids your age, you know, don't get a 100 on an assignment, or make a mistake in like a speech or a paper or something, and they just have so much trouble dealing with that and like just can't handle it. So like, why? It just seems like nothing really gets to you too much. So like, what's that all about?
I don't know.
Just who you are?
I guess.
Have you always been, you know, just kind of laid back? Because again, I don't teach you, but you just seem like really laid back, happy, like you enjoy everything you're doing. When I popped into that SCA meeting the other day and we're talking about the pennies ideas, like, you just seem to enjoy everything that you have going on.
I'm stubborn.
Okay.
I think I'm you know, pretty stubborn. I get that from like people in my family.
Okay.
So we don't mix well sometimes when we're both stubborn. But and I'm a worrier. So, but other stuff.
I'm a worrier too. I think too much.
And they're not going to be in here too long. It's just to get them cooked off before I put them in there. Because the sauce has pretty much been like, you know, cooking for a while. So it's pretty cooked down. I just want this to be, I want it to taste really nice and fresh. But I don't want there to be raw tomatoes and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So did you just leave the heat from the eye on, or did you turn it back up?
Usually I just leave it on, but I forgot and turns it off. So I just turned it back on.
And so you have it on like medium, basically?
Yes, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just going to do this till they kind of are like pretty cooked down and soft. And once I do that, I'm just going to put them in there. I'm also going to salt these a little bit. Pepper.
So you guys are like at the point where you're signing up for classes and people are forcing you to think about your future and all that stuff. So like, what is it for you? I mean, first of all, to be clear, if somebody would have asked me what I wanted to do when I was 13, 14, I would have no idea. So can you even answer that question?
I'm kind of interested in psychology.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be like a psychologist, at least right now. I don't have a job that has to do with psychology somewhat. I think that would be fun. I don't really know what that job is, but...
So, do you know why you want to have a job? Like, what is a job?
I don't know. Not that this isn't a job, just... like... I don't think this would keep me busy enough. I mean, it would keep me busy, but I like to have, sometimes when I am really busy, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I could just have less to do. But then if I did, I'd be like, come on, I need something to do. I'm really bored, So I don't think this would keep my mind quite busy enough, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I need something I would be a little more,
So let's say you start this restaurant, you have it,
Mm-hmm.
you love it, you're into it, it's super successful, but like you said, you got to do something else. So what would the next thing be that you could do? If you could do anything, like no education, no like money needed, just like anything in the world, you can have it, you can make it happen.
I don't know. There's like a job that doesn't exist that I think would be fun, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of interested. I think it would be cool to do something in psychology, but being like a lawyer of some sort also seems fun. But all the different types don't seem fun, if that makes sense. It's like something in law would be cool, but like I can't find like a branch of law that seems cool.
Right.
So this basil, it says to rinse when you're ready to use it. And I also learned this from Blake Brand. If you're supposed to tear it right before you use it, because it gets like the most amount of flavor from it if you do it that way. I'm gonna do that, and I'll mix that in, and then I'm also gonna put some on top when I plate it. That's cheese. You can really smell that, like, because of garlic. Okay, I think it's done.
Done?
Yep.
All right, so what's next? Do
I
we
need a plate.
get a plate? We get to eat it?
Yeah, and like put the cheese and the basil on it.
All right. All right, so I'm eating the spectacular pasta of Emily Waters. We're gonna test it out. So, moment of truth. That's good.
It is? Okay, good.
Yeah, what do you think?
I think it's good.
All right.
I didn't get too much sauce because I got the bite messed up, but it was good.
Good. All right. Final advice to anyone out there about anything? Like, what's your go-to advice?
To stay positive.
There you go. Great advice.